Hey everybody, and welcome to Cooking with JoJo. I am back. Yes, it's been about a month or so since you've seen me in my videos. And I think the reason why is because my selfie mode on my iPhone was just not working for me. It was nearly impossible to be able to engage with the audience and the viewers and to be able to cook and show you what I'm cooking. And so I asked for Christmas from my dear husband for a GoPro. I've heard the GoPro has amazing megapixels, whatever that means. I hear it's good for videos. And it'll give you more of a wide angle and more of a wide view of what I'm cooking. So here I am today with my new GoPro, and so far it's pretty amazing. I think you've got some good views of what I'm going to be doing today. And what is on the menu today is my ever so famous carnitas. Now, carnitas, everybody has their own way of doing it. This is the way that I've done it. I have actually modified this recipe every time I do it. I was inspired by a great website that I had found online a couple of years ago, and I just started doing it and modifying it based on my tastes, and here we are today. Now, my carnitas, what I'm doing is not the traditional way of making carnitas. I find that when I make carnitas kind of the old school way on a pot on my stove, it literally takes me all day. I don't have all day. I am a busy mama. My kids love the carnitas. They freeze beautifully, and I just don't have the time all day to do that. As any mom, stay-at-home mom knows, you've got a million things to do, and so I wanted to find some modifications as to what I could possibly do to make this really great dish not lose its taste and flavor in half the time. And I found that, and I'm so excited to share that with you today. So, again, this is not the traditional way of doing carnitas. This is the modified JoJo way. I hope that you enjoy watching and learning what I do. The tastes, again, have not been modified and or changed. I'm quite impressed with the wonderful Instapot. Now, the Instapot I just recently got a couple of months ago, playing around with it. It does beautifully with stews. It does great soups and carnitas. I was skeptical. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be changing the flavors of this beautiful meat. And actually it doesn't. It's almost the same, if not better, in half the time, which is pretty extraordinary. So here we go. I've got a couple of things going on here. We're going to make it as easy as possible for you. First off, I want to let you know that I got a lot of pork today. And the reason why is because I'm actually preparing all of this for Christmas Eve dinner. And so we're going to one of our dear friends' home tonight in San Francisco. And I had asked, what can I make? Can I bring up, chicken parm or some lasagna, carnitas, and hands down the carnitas won. So I'm totally fine doing that because it's easy. I have a quiet home. The kids are at a movie right now, and I get to cook in beautiful silence. So if you hear the dog barking occasionally, that's Rocky. He's our French bulldog. He's our third child. No harm done. He's just protecting the family. So what I have here is a couple of items. What I love about this dish is that essentially it's so easy to make. And the reason why is because really you're doing one pot, which is the beauty of it for anything, especially for a mom who doesn't have time to clean up and run around with multiple pots. I can't stand the cleanup process. So here we go. Welcome back to Cooking with JoJo. I'm excited to have you watching, and happy and healthy New Year to you all. So here we go. So first off, I've got some great Vidalia onion. I always swear by Vidalia onion. It is a sweet onion. It's delicious. It melts beautifully in any type of meat dish. So that's what I'm doing right now. I've got Vidalia onion cut in quarters, okay? So what I'm doing right now in this beautiful Instapot of mine is all I'm going to do is hit the saute button. It's on. So saute button is literally sauteing anything that you would on a stove top in this beautiful pot right here, which is the coolest thing ever. So I've got some olive oil. Now it's beeping at me, telling me it's starting the sauteing process, which means just literally just heating up right now. I've got some beautiful olive oil. What we're gonna do is put in about, I'd say, I'm going to do about a half a cup, and the reason why I'm doing a little bit more olive oil than usual, again, is because I do have a lot of pork. I've got about 7 pounds of cut up pork that I'm going to be putting in there. It's boneless pork, so basically you just go to the butcher, which is what I do. I go to Lenardi's, they're fabulous there, and I asked for a boneless pork butt. Boneless pork butt, I will show it to you once I open it up. And all they do really, I said, can you please cut it in chunks for me? I'm sticking it in the Instapot. They always look weird at me and they're like, sure, we'll do that for you. And they do it, and it's done in seconds, and it makes my life that much easier as a stay-at-home mom. So right now, it's on the saute setting on my Instapot. I'm just gonna put in my quartered onions right on in. You like them to put them in whole because essentially the Instapot just, it heats up so hot and so fast that everything that you put in this pot literally falls apart and melts. So these Vidalia onions melt beautifully in the Instapot with the pork, okay? So I've got the quartered onion in my Instapot. I'm hearing the sauteing is already starting, which is the coolest thing ever. I've got 5 cloves of some fresh garlic. I love garlic. Anybody can attest to that in my family. I smell like it. That's fine. It just means I know how to cook well. So I've got some garlic here. I'm just sticking it into my beautiful Instapot. Now, as that's starting to simmer, I've got 2 cans of tomato paste, roasted garlic. And typically when you make a smaller version of the carnitas, I usually just do 1, but because I'm doing a large quantity today, I'm gonna do 2. And the cool thing is with the drippings of, once the carnitas is done after about 30 minutes, that's right, you heard it, the carnitas will be done in 30 minutes. The drippings left over, for years I've kind of thrown it away. I don't know why. One day I tasted it. It tasted super good. My daughter's like, Mama, let me taste it, because it does smell pretty good after it's done, the drippings, and it's a good amount of drippings. She tasted it. She's like, can I eat it? I want it like soup. I'm like, okay. So then I started playing around with some more of the idea of mole sauce. Gosh, mole sauce is essentially the drippings of carnita fat, right? And add some flour to thicken it up and maybe some dark chocolate and call it a day. I tried it. I blended it, it came out thick, and I put it on top of the carnitas, and let me tell ya, it's heaven on earth. So what I've got right now is I've got my onion sauteing and my garlic. I have a spoon, and I'm just gonna just twist it around in here, and I'm gonna take my tomato paste, my 2 cans, and I'm just gonna throw it on in there. I've had a heck of a Christmas break, let me tell you. I've had family visiting, I had my mom and dad visiting for some time, and we were cooking up a storm. I essentially had to recover 2 days of cooking for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day because I made lots of really cool and interesting different dishes that I typically wouldn't do, and it takes a lot on you. So after Christmas Day was over, I sat down in front of my TV and discovered one of the best shows I've ever discovered, which is called The Crown. I am hooked. Let me just tell you, the drama was fabulous. So, you got some time on your hands, and you want to watch a good show on Netflix, I highly recommend The Crown. Great acting, lots of oh my god moments. I'm like screaming at the TV. My husband's like, what's wrong with you? I do that often. Okay, so now it's sizzling this beautiful tomato paste mixture with the onion and the garlic. Smells are all coming together and just smells so good. And the simplicity of this recipe is so great. I love it. The simplicity and the ease of it just makes me beyond happy. So now I'm smelling it as it's starting to simmer. All the flavors starting to mesh together. I've also got about 1 large bin here of chicken broth, and that's going to be added to it momentarily. So as you can hear, it's starting to sizzle. So you've got your tomato paste again, you've got your onion, and you've got your garlic. What I'm going to do right now, and I'm going to do it again once I put the pork in, is I'm going to just start my base, my roux essentially. So I've got some salt. Natural sea salt's the best way to go. It's very forgiving. The flavors with the sea salt, to me, tastes, I know it sounds strange, less salty than the average iodized salt, and I think it's because it just tastes, it just goes so well beautifully for cooking and baking. It's just a more neutral type of salty flavor, and again, more forgiving. So I'm just gonna put in about 2 tablespoons worth of salt, okay? As you can see, I'm not big on measuring. The only time I truly do measuring all the time is when I bake. Obviously, baking is critical, but with cooking, I like to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I know it can be kind of hard for the viewers. We were kind of like, all right, how does this work? Trust your flavors, trust your instinct. That's what I've done throughout the years, and it works well. And you can't really go wrong. Sometimes if you're over salt, that's the hard part. So you always have to undersalt and then later on add as you go. But that's like really the most, I think, hardest part for me is having to measure and doing. Just don't have the time for it, clearly, and not the energy. So I don't. So now I'm putting in garlic powder. Love garlic powder. More garlic, here we go. Again, about 2 tablespoons worth as well. And the best part of my carnitas, which brings out all the flavors together, is my cumin. About 2 tablespoons. The cumin really brings out the flavors beautifully for any Mexican dish, and essentially for this carnitas dish. So again, it's all coming together, it's all sizzling. The onion is starting to melt down a little bit, which is really nice. And now I'm gonna open up my beautiful pork. Again, you wouldn't want to make it this much pork if you're doing it for your family because it's a lot of pork, unless you want to. And the reason being is because carnitas freezes so darn well. And I love the way that it freezes. You cook it the way that you would normally. You just put it I would put it in a plastic baggie, like a Ziploc baggie, or even containers. And I freeze them and I defrost them the next day in the refrigerator, and there's a meal for your family. So some prepping is always good whenever you're on the go. And that's what I do, essentially, because, again, people are like, you stay at home, you do nothing all day. I hear this sometimes, really I do. And between the activities and the volunteering for my kids and being present, which I'm so blessed that I have the opportunity to do so, I also want to make some really good meals. And time goes quickly when you're at home. By the time you drop off the kids in the morning, it's go, go, go. So for me, trying to find these shortcuts to make my life easier and give my family really good meals is essentially the most important thing. So I try to figure out ways to do it, and here are some of my secrets that I'm doing them. So as you can see, they did a beautiful job cutting up the... Hi, again. So I've got the great pork. Here's my pork. So now I'm putting the pork essentially right into my hot pot. So as I go through with the GoPro, I am learning as I go through. So if I glance at my phone every so often, I can actually see myself on the phone. It's the coolest thing ever. So I can see myself on the phone. I can see kind of like if I'm getting the right angles and stuff like that. So far it's been pretty cool. GoPro fan for sure. Okay, so I'm throwing in my beautiful, beautiful cut pork butts. Yes, it is fatty. The fat will render in the heat that the Instapot will break down for me. And that's the beauty of the sauce, is the fat. And I know that we are all concerned about fat and watching our weight as we go through, but again, I've learned through my lovely journeys of trying to lose weight daily. I mean, it's just the battles of my life. I've learned, number one, that you want to stay low carb. That's the hardest part for me. High in protein, lean fats is really important. The key thing truly is moderation. And I'm learning that every day as I go through. Okay, so I've got 7 pounds of pork in that thing right here. Now, it's all gonna be rendered down. I'm just kind of stirring it as I go through. It's all sizzling beautifully together. You wanna get the onion on the bottom, and you wanna get the tomato paste, and you wanna mix it all together really nicely, which is what I'm doing right now. The smells are awesome. It smells fantastic. Can't go wrong with sizzling pork in your family's home. The smell of it, that is. Okay, so I'm just shaking off the excess here. Now what I'm gonna do is add a little bit more salt again. I got my sea salt. Okay. I'm making sure my meat is really nicely seasoned. I'm adding my garlic powder. Take that top off, so much easier. I'm gonna throw it on in. Again, about 2 to 3 tablespoons of garlic powder. You can't go wrong with garlic, my friends, ever, ever. And then you've got the cumin. Again, about 2 tablespoons. So the top is secure, the bottom is secured as well. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add in some delicious chicken stock, all right? That's your base. Chicken stock is lovely. It adds wonderful flavors to your pork. And I've got so this container here is about 48 ounces, okay? So 48 ounces of chicken stock right here. I put in half the box right now, and it's pretty full as I can see. So now what I'm gonna do is just take my spoon here and just mix it on through. And now it's starting to boil, I can hear it. So not only are you creating this beautiful marinade for your carnitas, but you're also doing the sauce for your mole, which I swear to God is the easiest thing ever. And the flavors with the mole and the tacos is just juicy and it just kind of bursts in your mouth. It's delicious. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is everything's all mixed in beautifully to my liking. I'm very pleased. So I'm gonna turn off my Instapot. Instapot's turned off. I'm gonna grab this beautiful lid right here. I know it's strange that I'm saying a beautiful lid, but honestly, it's so heavy and strong and durable, it excites me. The things in life that excite me. All right, so now it's closed. I've got it on there's two switches here when you want to vent it, which is afterwards, which allows all the compression of the air to come out. And then you've got the ceiling. You want to put it on the ceiling. Always, whenever you do your Instapot, make sure it's on a ceiling position. That allows it to really gather all of its heat and begin its magic. So what I'm going to do right now is hit the meat stew button. And that's it. So I'm going to wait 35 minutes. Essentially, it's going to give me 5 minutes to kind of stew all the meats together. And I will come back. It's beeping right now, which means it's starting its process. And I'm going to come back and show you exactly how the meat turns out, what to do next, how to easily shred it because it's going to be so moist and delicious, and then how to make the mole sauce. Okay, talk to you soon.